What exactly is GracePort Plus? GracePort Plus is a continuation of the GracePort product line, but on a larger scale. What these products are designed for is to be covers for HMIs and touch panels and similar rather expensive components that can be mounted on the outside of an electrical enclosure, all the while providing protection from outside contaminants, yet still continuing to provide through-door access and viewing, and not the least of which these GracePort Plus products can help minimize arc flash and shock hazard. A few of the features that I would like to point out regarding our GracePort Plus. First of all of the hardware on these units is Type 316 stainless steel. Secondly, the formed in place gasket I think you will find very beneficial. This gasket is permanently attached to the rear of the unit, which can make installation so much easier because that gasket, as I say, is permanently attached. Hence, during installation, the gasket cannot shift or slip or slide or anything like that while you're trying to install the GracePort Plus unit. And finally, as with all GracePort products, these units are fully customizable, including company logos and custom text options. Essentially, there are three options available with GracePort Plus. The GracePort Plus covers are available as a cover-only option, or we can design individual GracePorts to fit under those GracePort Plus HMI covers. And finally, we can do a fully customized and integrated GracePort Plus panel. Here are a few samples of the GracePort Plus configurations. The three units on the left are the HMI covers with individual GracePorts and HMIs mounted under them, and then the units on the right are the fully assembled and integrated GracePort Plus. Configuring a GracePort Plus is very similar to any other GracePort configuration, with one exception, and that in this case there will probably be an HMI or similar component involved. Essentially at that point we need to know what the overall and cutout dimensions would be for that HMI. Beyond that, it's just a matter of selecting the components that are going to be going inside your GracePort Plus. Then we'll work together to make sure that the GracePort Plus is customized exactly to how you want it. One of the distinct advantages we have with GracePort Plus is the room we have with which to work. The configuration on the right side of the screen is a typical GracePort configuration. You'll notice it has a duplex GFCI outlet, a single USB port, a single Ethernet port, and a circuit breaker. The configurations on the right are a couple of sample GracePort Plus configurations, and you'll notice there are multiple outlets and multiple components, yet still providing room for your HMI. To get started on your GracePort Plus configuration, just go to our website and fill out the GracePort Plus configuration form. We'll respond with an initial layout and then continue to work with you until that GracePort Plus is customized exactly the way you want it. There are numerous applications for GracePort Plus, but some of the most obvious applications would be in dirty environments where your HMIs and touchscreens are exposed to contaminants, would be in rough environments where things tend to get broken, struck by fork trucks, etc. Maybe a security situation where you need to restrict access. And finally, since the GracePort Plus covers are UV stabilized, they're ideal for use in outdoor applications.